Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
Start with the Discovery Boards. First of all, what is a Discovery Board? Discovery Board is an embedded ad hoc reporting and analytical tool within Workday. It enables you to perform drag and drop analysis of data within data sources. Here is a picture. How does a sample Discovery Board looks? Basically, Discovery Board is used for creating custom requirements for creating visualizations. Definitely, the Discovery Board will require data for all those things. For that, we can use the data source as the present data published data sources, or we can use Workday related data sources as Intuit. It consists of at least one or more sheets. There will be different sheets and each sheet will consist of different visualizations to it. Sheet generally contains visualizations. Visualizations consist of the charts and tables and graph, whatever we choose. Here also, it's mentioned that Workday has enabled all PCAM data sources and some to Workday deliver index data sources to be used within Discord reports. Why index data sources? Because present data sources already are indexed. Indexed as in they generally have a lot of data, but they are kind of indexed. We are able to run the report very quickly. There are in Workday. There are two types of data sources which are Workday delivered. One is indexed and one is standard. The difference between indexed and standard is that standard generally takes a lot of time to run it, and it has comparatively more data as compared to the indexed data sources. Indexed data sources are generally consists of very less number of fields, but it also runs very quickly. And also it has to do with something regarding having the data on the server and that it pulls it quickly and all. Yes, now, in order to give the security into the drive, first of all, in order to access the Discovery Boards, first of all, you will require access to drive. If you don't have access to drive, you won't be able to access the Discovery Board. A drive is very similar to a Google Drive or Apple Drive. Apple iCloud, in which we can upload our Excel file, text file, any audio file. We can do that for our reference. Here's Drive accessible to the Workday. Yes, it is basically inside the Workday ecosystem. The drive has been provided. Yes, let me show it to you. If I go here, if I want to access time, what Prism? And we presume we should type data catalog, but it's not. In drive, we will click on this and we will go on this drive. When we click on drive here, you can see that different folders are there. Here the Discovery Boards are there. This is Excel file or worksheet. There are different drives. If I go to share with me, I can see more of it. I can go to custom contents and this. It's basically a kind of a folder here. First of all, in order to have access to the Discovery board, I can see that have a access for drive. For drive, I will need the access for a drive for drive administrator. Reports drive admin and reports drive user. These are the domains which are responsible. For the drive, as we discussed in Prism, as we can add this domains into the into a security role or create a Discovery board security role and assign this role to the particular person. Similarly, when we have the drive, then inside the drive there is a Discovery board. First of all, first step is to have access of drive. Once you are able to access drive, we will be into the drive environment. Inside drive, we will be able to access Discovery board. In order to access the Discovery board we need these domains access Discovery board, administrator discoverable, create, manage created data sources, and the list is given over. Here, for all this access, it's to be noted that we need to give view and modify access for all of our domains by giving a view and modify access, as in, let's say, if I have created a Discovery board and I just also want to modify it into all the changes, I will be able to do it. That is what. Here, if I show you here, we are into this drive environment, and when I click on new, I will give option of Discovery board document what I need to create. Discovery board is completely very easy to understand. Not much complex. You will be easily able to understand it, but still, if you have any doubt, you can let me know. It's basically a folder, basically just Google Drive or iCloud. It's just a drive folder in which we can store our data, generally people, essentially. Organization don't support to store much data. What happens is, let's say if in organization, if I work and I download any file, are you using any Teams or Meet? What type of software you use in your organization? In my organization, we use a Teams, and we use Teams as a folder, as a holder for our folders and files. And you actually have a policy to use it. For example, if I want to share the Excel file, I either share it by the Teams or other Microsoft devices, but not send it by the name. We're going to use Teams. And what's the name of the share? I forget. SharePoint. SharePoint exactly. That's what we're going to use. What company is doing is, let's say this is basically Microsoft ecosystem. Microsoft will consist of Outlook, Teams, SharePoint and all. What we do is we store our data in Teams folder or maybe SharePoint that. But here people also feel that why don't we upload the file here, as the issue is people can upload the file. But first of all, the issue is that not every people will have access to a drive. Let's say if I have access to drive and I am sharing a Discovery board with you, but you don't have access to drive, then you won't be able to access the Discovery board, as there's a limitation regarding the access. And secondly, the more the data is stored on the Workday, the more it will utilize that space. The organization generally don't ask employees to use drive for storing the data. Rather, it asks you to create a Discovery boards and worksheets over here and store it over here. Discovery board, if I download it. First of all, I want you to download the Discovery boards because it's something very related to Workday. There's no any software which can run it on the other end. Let's say if I download this, if I can download this particular or worksheets, I can basically use it into Gmit or in Excel. We are only keeping a function We are storing only the data which has workdays. A dependency that it can be only used into Workday. Here, when you click on it here, you can see that different icons are there, which represents different types of objects. Represents Discovery Board. This is document template. Document template is very similar to Microsoft Documents. Sorry, Microsoft Word. Yes, Microsoft Word is document. Template. Notification template is something very different, and new edition presentation is the PowerPoint workbook is worksheets or Excel file. Here the worksheet. When we talk about worksheets, which we'll cover in the later point of time. Worksheet is very much similar to the Google Meets G Sheets. Axon is different and G Sheet is different. Their working is basically the same, but the I is a bit different. That's the only difference for them. Let's say if something is into something. Let's say if I want to, and name I want to. Color the fonts. In Zoot, if it's on the left side, in Excel it might be on the side. The thing will be there, but there will be a little bit of difference because the creator are different. Then these are the symbols that I can recognize it from. Some of the seeing it, and again, then I can also create a folder as and let's say if I have not able to, if I don't create anything, I already have something created. I can upload as, let's say I have created a text file or I want to upload it. I can here click on it and click on it. Here I think upload is not supported for the txt file, but I can try uploading a CSV if it does. Let me do it. Let me do this. This is uploading. Basically, I uploaded the file. If I show you, I uploaded this file here. I uploaded a file in a format which is Excelx, which is an extension of Microsoft Excel. What it does is it created two copies. One is the original copy, which is Excelx, which is my copy, and now Workday created its own version of workbook. Here we can see this is the workbook. It's created our own version. What it does is it translated Excel into its understandable format because both are very similar to each other, but with some minor tweaks. I will just quickly remove it. Yes, this is how it looks in the drive. Here we can create discovery words. This is things. Apart from it, here are the options of my files. Here drive, it will show order data into drive. Here in my files, it will show me the files which I have created or which has ownership of mine. Here is a shared with me option. Is the file which is owned by someone else but shared with me. Then I can also mark favorites over here that if I want to quickly access any file, let's say there are 100 files, but I only use 5 files on a daily basis. You can do a favorite on it. These are the reasons. What are the reasons used here are the templates. Templates as in, let's say I create a template. Particularly here, if I document template, notification template, which I will be using it on regular basis, I can use it from here. Why template document? Template. In there's a new concept of Workday Docs. Workday Docs is a Workday documents. In that what happens, we can create a dynamic field. Let's say if I want to give someone means. This is just an advanced thing which I think that you should know. It's nothing regarding the course which we cover, but there's a functionality of Workday Docs which has been recently introduced. In that what happens is, let's say I will just explain with a use case that there's a business process and there's any increment of the people, and upon the increment, we want to automatically trigger a document sending the worker that congratulations, you have got an increment, and these are the below details. Over there, his previous pay will be there and the updated pay will be there with the increment amount. And how much percentage will be mentioned and how much percentage it got. And in this we know that only the name of the worker will change. Only the percentage of amount will change. And the current and proposed pay will be changed. What I will do is I will create a template out of it in which all the standards things will be mentioned. Just such as conservation, you have got the increment from this, and we look forward to working with you. We will keep this thing as a static, and what we will do is we will create a dynamic field with the name of name. We will what also? We'll create a dynamic field inside the Workday. It will pick the name automatically depending on the business process. Let's say if the business process is running, for me it will automatically. It will automatically pick my name in it. If it is A, for me, it will automatically pull my current pay. Those are the templates. Basically, why does name it tablets? Because it is used for everyone depending on the scenario. Any questions? If you create a template, you can also give the access for a template to somebody. Yes. Let's say me and you, we together are working on a particular project. And we are working on this project in which we want to update we want to create. And write this document in the Workday, I can share it with you. But this document which I am referring to, it then works it. What it does is, let's say if I created this document, I will include this document in by creating a dynamic field into the business process. When someone's business was triggered, someone gets promoted. In the end of the business process, I will include this step that generate a document. This document will be generated and then I will convert this document into PDF and send him via an email on his email ID. If somebody, for example, have a completed data change, you can just send him an information on the email with a PDF and some confirmation. Hey, this transaction was completed for you. Yes, exactly. We can do that. That successfully your detail has been updated. This was your previous detail. This was your current detail and it has been updated. Either we can send an email normally, or if it requires any document, then we can do it. Basically, document is important where a proper documentation is required. Just increment letter or offer letter those. Documents, in which document is important? Yes, because see, let's say if someone is leaving the organization, he should have offer letter with him, which is a document and this is required. But if, let's say, someone is changing their name or someone is changing a contact number, then generating a document will not make a sense, because also get a confirmation hearing notification that your name has been changed. That's it. Yes, I mean it can have a sense when depending on the policy of the company, if you have to have some proof in case of the PDF that you can print or, for example, file that. You can send to somebody in the email. What I mean? Yes, in that way. It can be used in that way that, let's say, if someone is enrolling their benefit partner in its name, then it should change. It should send those details on their email via document, or let's say, if they are updating any critical thing, let's say, they are updating their SSN number. SSN number is used in US. Basically, is just a very important document. Every country has a very unique document for their financial transitions. I'm not sure regarding Europe what document they use, but in US it's SN number. In SS number, Basically, it's a very when you enroll anywhere, you have to give your SSN number, basically your taxation. It's easy for them to give your data to the tax authorities. It's a special field when you can put a social security number. I think there is on the team member profile. There is an option for IDs and there is a place for our SSN number there. Yes. Let's say someone is updating their SSN number. It's a very critical thing. Change. In that terms, we can trigger a document upon completion of that business. Process that your assistant member has been updated. If it is not updated by you, you can just revisit again, yes. Yes, I'm just explaining with your scenario only that, yes, we can actually do these changes. We can trigger the document on the completion of business process when someone do any changes. Now we will go to trash. In the trash, we will see the file feature. Actually, I just came up with something. When you have a template, where is this template saved? Can you always access it from the drive because it's saved on the drive, or is it saved? In the data change, for example, what I mean, you can go to data change and download. Document from there. Yes, template is we will build over here. Let's say I build a template. Over here, I build a template over here. Then I will use this template when I will be configuring the business process. Apart from the developer of this template, no will be accessing template over here. Apart from the developer, no one will be using template over here. They need to. Once I create a template over here, it will be available in the business process to configure the document over there. There is an option that action. In the business process step, let's see if I can show it to you if I have access. I am just picking a random test this business process. Thank you. Regarding the creating business stats, what is the training for that? It's basically a function more basically in the Workday Core XEM. They give you a very short introduction that how you can create this thing. They will show an apart from it. When you learn Workday functional side, you might require it. But the thing which you are learning Workday Prism, it's a technical part. Either you can have expertise in Workday technical or either in Workday functional. There are some people who are techno-functional, but it's still not being expert of any one thing. Here you can see the document retrieval, document delivery options are there. I can select it and I can do the document retrieval from the particular place. That is how we can configure it. This is just for a knowledge. I just inform you in Prism. We won't be using it anywhere, but the document came up and I thought to share something new with you that you will be using it. Otherwise, it is a very functional thing. If you are a functional person, they will expect this kind of work from you and not a Workday technical guy because you will be dealing with, because this is a functionality which you're adding, and as a technical person, you will be working with technical extraction of the data. What you can do is you can slowly learn on. Because see, if I give a personal example. Previously, I didn't have any experience. When I joined this Workday ecosystem, slowly I tried exploring each and everything. First, I learned reporting, then integration, then Prism, then some points of functions. Still, I had to once check on the function line. If you become a technical person, there is a different roadmap for becoming a technical person, because there are many technical things to learn. That's what I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to learn a lot of things about the world and see which one will give me ability to use it in my work. I can learn that day by day work. Whichever is going to be more available for me, I'm going to be trying to learn that, to be open on any of this part in the time will come. Actually, all of them are actually open and you can work on it. But basically, let's say if you are working currently kind of in a technical role, basically, then you will have a good understanding regarding the technical part. Again, think of being a technical person rather than a functional person. But let's say if you are working currently in a technical role into a functional role, then you can go on a functional end. Generally, what happens is functional is required, but once the system has been set up, the people don't generally rely on functional people, because once the system is set up, hardly there are changes. Basically, updating a business process is very rare once a set of process of being decided in the beginning. There is too many dependency on personal people and not on the technical end. But let's say system is set up or organization system in Workday, then they will have a more dependency on technical team more. What you're saying is that once you implement system, one company up their business processes and later on, very rarely somebody changes something. Yes, they will have very less changes. Let's say if I when I set up an organization, I will configure the business processes for hire. I will set up one time as an organization. I won't be frequently changing my business process for hiring someone. If I will keep on changing, it will be hard for people as to understand it for the employees itself. But yesterday you told to do the background check and now you're saying not to do. It's confusing for us. Yes, then again think about this. That way there is a business and it has its needs. And for example, what happened in my company? We have 2 human centers and now some of the fulfillment centers, they have our drivers and their process of hiring is a little bit different. Because this driver has a background check, but he also have another one background check, which is checking his driving license. If he's actually, how to say that, if he has a specific driving license allowing him to drive larger cars in the US, for example, changing the process to add that for a certain group of people, I think that's what can happen. I mean, not too often, of course, but I think it does happen in some situations. But in that case also, we can create 2 business processes in the beginning. Let's say, I know that in my organization, I have to create a special business process for that particular supervisor organization, for that particular vertical of drivers. In that though, all drivers will be there. For a particular vertical, I can create a separate business process from the beginning itself. I see it does make sense. I remember there was, for example, we have 2 processes for creating position. One was going for approval to finance, the other were not. For example, it's all dependent on which one you are using in some situation. Finance would have to be informed that we have created a new role, and in some situations, you don't. I guess it's, but then again, when you have a process that is already in the system and, for example, you want to change the list of approvals. You want to, for example, add additional group A from now on. I don't know PO is going to be approving. Instead of managers, this is something you can add in the business process. Or you also would to create a new one. We generally create a new one by taking a reference of additional one. Let's say I can create a copy or link a business process over here. Let's say in my organization, I know that I just need to add one step, but not for all, but for a particular vertical. I can create a copy of it, and I can edit that copy with the new changes. And supervised organization is the I am referring to. When I click it is asking me the business process what I am changing it for. Here I can change it for a particular supervised organization, not for others. Let me show you the step. Thank you. Basically, there are some restrictions on security, but basically we can assign to a particular supervisory organization. Hello, back to the discovery. What here are the trash which you can delete from here. What we have collected, it can be deleted. Apart from it, what I can do is I can search the tribe as, let's say if I want to search anything, I can search it over here. I can filter the tribe depending on the category. Then I want to see favoritist discovery boards, media. Here the media is not shown in new because we can create media in Workday's drive. But you can definitely upload a media over here. Let's say I want to upload a video which has been created by the organization for any awareness. I can upload that over here. That I can do it. Media is going to be what kind of file? It can be a video, not, or any audio MP3 file. And does the world have its own video player for that? It will run inside it, basically. If people generally don't use it, we can check it. But we don't have any file to review. I understand. MIDI file. If it's using an application I have in the Windows or using its own. But this is the cloud file. I think you should have their own player. They should definitely have their own player. Let me see if there are. Media is available. No, media is available. But yes, as you said, it's a cloud thing. They will have some configurations inside it that it can run the videos. Another question, because when we spoke about video, it came to me that the videos usually have a large size. Is it a cap on the size? When you talk about the data, we talk that there is 500 megabytes per file we create. For I can check. I haven't added in the notes. I was taking notes herein. Presentation, but I can't see any particular such things. I didn't found it on the end of Workday, but still I will check it again and let regarding what's file size, how much we can upload it. I don't think there's much news for our videos here, but maybe I was thinking more about maybe somebody passport or the photos. You want to keep the files that somebody sends to you as a part of onboarding. Or hire, I don't know, somebody leave data. Somebody applies for a leave to the external vendor. Vendor approves that and it has the file in the form of a picture. What I mean? But I don't see much. I can imagine much of the video is being used here. Basically for the drive, I'm just giving an introduction to drive, but in the discovery boards, we won't be using it. Drive itself is a very different functionality. But why we are covering drive? Because from drive we will be able to create a discovery board. Drive is not directly connected with our walking, but drive is covering because we have dependence on the discovery board. In that we can get more information on the community that. What are the limitations of the drive? What we can do? How much files we can? But for us, for creating the drive, we won't need any particular storage requirement because we are not uploading anything. We are just creating discovery boards and it will store all the data which you create into a discovery board. Coming to the next part. When I click on the particular here on this discovery board, I will get different options to open a discovery board, share it with someone. To rename it, add to favorite info, make a copy, who is the owner, when was created. Modified. Share is it is shared with how many people. Here I can see that if I click on this access, I can see that. Share again. If I want to share with someone, I can enter their name, but I can see who existing people are there with whom it is shared. I can go to who has access and here I can see that Teresa is the owner of it and it is shared with financial administrator and report admin. People who have access to report admin and finance admin can added this and these are the people who don't, who may not have access, who may not have. The security group role in Workday Finance and Report, they have added their names over here. Alex, Gwyn and Logan. This is how I can share with someone. Now I will close it and I will open it. Let's see existing. If we have an existing thing which I can see. Yes, here it will show an error. Cannot render the visualization just because there. Maybe too much data. That's why I told that it's always important to filter, to use the index data sources and filter out the data as much as possible. It's not that you use the index control run because it has also do some calculations from there. If I add a sum or something that we can basically filter out the data based upon it. Let me go to the presentation. Now understand the Discovery workspace. Discovery workspace. I'll just give a brief idea about it because we have less time and this particular topic. I feel that we can cover it up in one go, but I'll just give an understanding on it. How does Discovery board looks? Let's say I create a Discovery board. I will go to New. I'll go to Discovery Boards. I will name as today's date. I will mention event 50. Discovery board. Yes, when I created Discovery board, what is the eye of it? Basically, this is a view of the discovery boards. We can see here I can mention a description of it. I can mention that what this discovery board is made for. This discovery board is created for test. I can click on apply. Basically, this will return over here. If someone is new and someone wants to know what does discovery board task, and they will be able to understand it, I can mention over here. I can also format it Control and I and apply. Here the changes will be saved over here, and this is the how the UI looks. If I start from the top, here's a name of it. I can change the name anytime if when I want. I don't have to go every time in the drive and go to rename. You remember when we are in drive, when I clicked on it, it was showing us the option to share, rename and info. Over there also I can rename it. I can rename it from here as yes. Apart from it, here's a share option from here as let's say I want to share with someone. I can click on share and again share with someone. This is redo and undo button. Let's say I did any changes and I don't want to. I want to undo those things. Let's say if I selected something, this is undo and this is redo option. Apart from it, I can save my working warrior. Here also just prism after every working. It is important to save the working because this is a demo tenant. It might refresh. It might refresh anytime. And apart from it, in daily also, then daily day-to-day operations, when you create it, it's important to run to save the things. Why? Because let's say you have developed something and let's say you are hungry and you went for to grab something, and that your tenant timed out and it logged out or logged you off the workday automatically. It might happen with you that you went away for some time for lunch and workday automatically logs you off. In dire terms, all the working which you did will vanish off. It's important that after every working, if you're short, you can do a save. This is a save option. Here is add viz. I will come just after some time. Here is the help option just for normal help. Here I can. Here, this is the control panel. Let's say if I add a filter over here, I will add into the control if I want to keep it handy. I will explain detail once we cover the filter option. Here is the option here. I can see sheets are there here. One sheet can contain. Here, first of all, one discovery board can have multiple sheets and one sheet can have multiple visualizations. Let's say I want to add a sheet. I can click on this. Keep on adding it. I can add multiple sheets over here. Basically, previously the limit of sheet was up to 5. Now in new release, I can add multiple sheets into it, but it is not recommended to add many sheets into here. Why? Because the more than a number of sheets, the more discovery boards need to process the data into background, and which will result in not getting the output. It is important that generally in one sheet only we can add multiple resolution. Let's go to sheet 1. Sheet 1. And here let's say I created a sheet. I can name this sheet as let's say worker data. I name this as called compensation data. I can bifurcate my working accordingly, that I can bifurcate. I can categorize my working in the sheets. I know that in this sheet in worker data sheet, I will have all the visualization related to worker and compensation. I will have all the visualization related to work compensation. Now I can add the sheets. Over here against from the list, I can, if I don't want to scroll it every time. If there are too many sheets, I can click on it and switch the sheets from here, as I can also rearrange the sheets by hovering over these 6 dots, and I can move the sheets this as I can rearrange it as. Apart from it, let's say I created a visualization over here. I can add this from here. Here, when I do it, it will automatically add a visualization for here. Visualization also, I can move the visualization from here as per my requirement, as per my need. Let me again. I can rename it as I can remain as Viz1. I can expand it. Let's say I found, want to expand it temporarily. I can expand it temporarily as I can also push it to its normal size. Apart from it, when I click on this action, I can add a description of it. Just Discovery Boards. Discovery Boards will give you a brief understanding that this Discovery Board deals with, let's say, payroll related data. But what certainly this particular visualization does, I can add it that this visualization compares payroll of different countries. Let's say if I created a graph in that one line will have one axis will have worker and our country data, and one axis will have payroll data. I can compare different payroll of different countries, that for particular role. Let's say for a driver in Europe you are paying 10 euro per hour, but similarly in US you are paying for same role for 25 euro. I can compare those all the data over here. Cost of the worker in a different zone. Yes, I can compare that for specific one, for one skill which is you need to. Universal everywhere means driver will drive in us as in Europe, as in Australia, as you can compare their payrollings over here, that what are their base pay over. Here, this might be useful to see their fair wages as that is your company. Following the fair wage or not, or is it that it is paying very low in particular country and it's paying very high in a particular country. That over there you can add description over it, that what this particular visualization is doing. I can create a duplicate of it. I can create a report out of it. I can download it in CSV format as download in CSV format. It will only appear when the data is in that format only. Let's say if I created a visualization which is a tabular format, that only I will get into CSV format. And here if I want to resize the columns, let's say if I create a table and in that table I will get a resize column. But let's say if I created a pie chart, I won't get this option, and there's an option for deleted. This is an understanding. Regarding this panel, I think I should be covering it in one go. Because if I will continue now also it will break a link. And you might have doubt in understanding it. Here I have created this file. Is it more visible now for you? I guess it makes sense. Yes. Here what I have done is I have basically created 1, 2, 3, depending that up to 16 for other important things are there. And based upon that, you will be able to see that what things works for you. Hey, wait a minute. Things are also there, just this 3 number, which is menu option for board. This is very generic. When I will be showing you in practical, I may not cover few of them, but basically you can understand. Those are the very basic one. Just menu option is very understandable, but I will cover all the things which are very important day-to-day working. Yes, cover the heavy. We have completed with this show. Yes, here we have covered basic introduction. To Discovery Boards. In next session, what do is cover the you are saying about. This one I said, for example, gender distribution. Why it uses the percentages, actually I'm not sure. No, it's not the percentage, it's a number. Anyway, I think that view I saw it before somewhere. I think that the charts, they remind me about the charts I can use in Excel. Basically, I'm keeping on adding. The points over here I can provide you completely when it ends. But you can take a screenshot of it, and if you want to review it, you can take this as a review and you can review it later on as for what you want to take. You want to take it for review. You want to take any particular thing for review. Thank you. I'm thinking about this now. That finance discoverable actually. When I take a derived data set or any table and I put it in the, can I just generate that from any data source? Can you come again? I didn't got your question. Oh, I'm speaking twice. I was wondering if I have any derived data set or any table. Depending on the source of the data, can I create, for example, a chart out of this? Exactly. When we discuss on creation of the discovery boards, we will cover that part that we can. Use the published data set, the discovery board, the derived data set which you created. Once we publish it, it will be not only available for reporting. You remember yesterday we discovered. I showed you that how published data set. By that we can create a report and it will show that triangle icon that this is a Prism related Prism created data source. That's same thing. We can use it in discovery mode as that we can do it. Cover it. Not an issue. For the charts. Basically, I'm not saying that you learn the charts by heart. But at least if you can understand the concepts of chart, just what does scatterplot do? What is waterfall? Chart that, just the basic one. Have a brief, just very short understanding. I'm not saying you become an expert of it, but if you just go through the definition of it, that will also work. I will sure try if possible, or else I will try to cover it up. Basically, I will try to cover it up and explain you in the best way how we can. What are the, you can say, the objects of it, how we can create it. Now dig in more into the Discovery Board workspace. How the Discovery Board workspace environment looks. For that we need to go to Workers Profile. And that we have to drive to access the Discovery Board. Here I think we have created one Discovery Board. I created a Discovery Board earlier. Let me create another one, a Discover Report. And let me name it BVLN. Discover Report. Let's create. Here we get this options. We also discussed on this options. What are the options are available? Let us switch between the tabs and understand here. If we see here, here's the panel for editing. First option, which is this one. This is a panel for editing visualization. The left side panel is where you navigate between the data source panel filter and configuration panel. This is the panel which they are referring to. Basically, this is a data source panel, from where we select what kind of data source it is. We can select Workday delivered data sources or the presumed data sources. Here if I search BDS, I won't get it because in this 3 dot, I have to go into this and to unselect this. Show only curated. What does curated does? The main function of curated is that It only shows the indexed data sources. Workday delivered indexed data sources, Workday delivered. Integra data sources basically run faster than the usual ones. Basically, this is a preference for in a case where we have to build a discovery board which runs faster. There's no option available for it. If I don't uncheck it and search it, I won't get the PISM data sources. When I click on this one. Then you can see again in the VDS as here VDS employee review, which was published on 2/10, it is showing. Then that we can see all the published data sources from the appraiser mind. This is all the data source list. Let's select a basic used one worker for HCM reporting. Let's select this. Once we select it, in some of the Workday related data sources we also get prompts, default prompts, which come with the data source. Here they show us that please select the data source filters. Here what do is we will select all workers rather than giving some all active ones. And apart from it, there are other sheet. Prompts as which are, do you want contingent worker? Do you want an employee type? Worker type, include terminated workers, we just mentioned, include terminated workers, yes. Then nothing else, this is whole. This prompt will apply for whole sheet. It is a thing to note that if we select this particular thing, this particular data source will be applicable for this visualization only when we create one sheet and in that once we create a visualization. Then we assign a data source set. Let's say if I add a visualization over here, I can assign a different data source as it's not that one data source is applicable for all the visualization and each. We can use multiple of them together. Once this is done, go to Builder panel. This is our data source panel where we select the data source. This is our Builder panel. Builder panel basically consists of all the fields which we generally use in a day-to-day basis. Here also the option is there that show only curated fields. Curated fields are indexed fields. That's why you can see that there are very limited options on a level. Let's say these are the drop downs. Let's say click on this. All the fields related to address and phone will come over here. Only one field is there for if I go to pay, if I go to name only. I will get a few fields, only worker. But let's say now what I will do is I will answer. I will click on this. I will get more option of it. Here you let's say see here the list has become very long as it was previously. If I now go to name, here I am getting this many fields from the name. Legal name, legal first name, name of the guest. That is the case. From here, this is a builder panel from where we can select it. With the field with numeric 1, what we can do is for this is a count. Count is counting the number of instances. Let's say when I create a table, I can count how many instances came in that particular. That I can pull it this sort. This is not any from work is in, this is from discovery, the absenteeism. Is that correct? Count doesn't. Sorry, can you repeat count as in? What does the count is counting here? Is it counting absenteeism? Yes, it is not counting absenteeism. It is counting the number of instances. Basically, it is an alphabetical order. That's why absenteeism is coming. But this is counting the number of instances. Let's say if I put this over here, it will count the number of rows. For that particular data, let's say the data if I mention worker and employee, and I put a count, it will count me how many results came in. Yes, I will just show you when I will just build it. It will be easy for you to understand. This is count. Apart from it, there are other fields such as here there are certain fields in which we can do the average and sum as when I click on here, I click here. Here by default sum average maximum is coming. This is not from work design. It's not from data source and I'm getting this field. But I will be able to perform some average max. Mean field median field percentile from discovery percent. I don't need to manually do it from behind. It will automatically do it. Let's say if I want the average count of something. Average count of any particular field. I don't need to create any calculated fields in Workday first and then bring it over here. I can simply pull it over here and do it. But there's a catch. That as in which is the catch that you can only perform this on a field which are numeric or currency field. This is, you can see currency field dollar symbol is there, which is a currency field because if there is a field which has 0, 1 in it, but let's say the field type is text, then I won't be able to perform it because it won't be able to read any text things into the calculation, which is very much genuine thing. If I open any other field, I won't be able to see that option, but I will be only able to see that option into the numeric and currency fields only. See, this is assigned one. I'm clicking over here. I'm getting count distinct. A count distinct is very different. Count distinct is in. It will be identifying the unique values of it. I will just come to the same point while we play around with that. How we can use it, or else we will confusion into it. Once it is a builder panel, here we can search the fields and here are the fields which are updated into it. Apart from it, this is this panel. This panel is used for creating table and charts. When I click on it, I'll get all the options by which I can create a table and chart. These are the visualizations available: bar chart, line chart, area charts, country plot, heat map, API. Waterfall, then matrix report is this one, pivot table chart, donut chart and advanced report table. Table is a normal table. These are the consultants for now which are currently available that we can create it. The mainly user tables, donut chart, pivot table, bar chart, line chart, KPI, scatter block. Heat map and waterfall are used, but it depends on the data that does. Your data has that particular elements into it by which we can create those visualization. Yes, this is the column where we try to drop it. Let's say if I want any particular thing, let's say one worker. Again, this drag and drop out here. Here it is. It makes the work very easy. Here, a drag and drop is a bit sometimes. It will hang a bit depending on your tenant. Configuration, but you just need to come over here and when it comes in the below, you can see draw field. Here is coming now. It is coming to replace a worker. It's already there. Worker field, yes. Here you can see the list of worker came. And now when I click on this and when I count distinct, it will be a wrong choice, but let me check it out if I can do it. I think it's still loading the data in the back. Thank you. cover this thing in a later part, because currently it's lagging later part. As in when we cover how to use the field and create a visualization, we will do it. At that time only with a proper example. For now, we came to know that this is this part where we can do it. Then there's a filter and filter. What we can do is we can apply the filters on different fields. Here we can apply filters on when you click on this. We can expand panel to full width that we can see if we have multiple scenarios. Also, you can collapse it as and sheet filters. When I click on it, it will apply all the elements of the sheet. But it is to note that when you apply a sheet filter, it is important that let's say if I apply a filter over the country, then the country should be present in all the visualization under that sheet. Let's say here in sheet 1, there are 3 visualization vision 1 with 1, 2, 3, in that the number 3 doesn't have country built into it. Then the sheet filter will be applied only for vis 1 and vis 2, not for vis 3. Why? Because though I have mentioned sheet filter, but that particular with 3. Data source doesn't have a country field, in that case it won't work. That is a face filter. In this filter, when I click on it, I can create a nested. Fit as here is a filter I can add different and or conditions that if I want to match 2 conditions together, I can create and fills together and add a filter together, and if I want to match any of the filter condition, I can add or condition to it. Then I can make a nested filter as nested filter, as in, let's say, if the worker is from, let's say, if he is from Poland, then he should, then only the male female employee should come. But let's say if the worker is from USA, then only the male employee should come. This is what nested is, that if the first condition meets, then only the second condition should get triggered. Yes, that we can do it depending on the scenario. Let's say if we are considering few and employees, but the condition are different, in that if you can use a nested filter groups. Basically, nested means what? Nested basically means that if a first condition meets, let's say we are creating a nest. Let's say if one condition is that at country equals to Honan, let me do it in Notepad. Yes, when country goes to Poland, if this condition meets, then we create a nest over here. Filter nest. One first nest is this one, that country. Country equals to Poland, then gender equals to male and female. This is I'm just giving it over UVR. We don't write query based upon this. Query is very similar to Workday's query, and when country is equals to USA, then gender equals to me. If this condition meets, then only gender this. Will pull if this condition is written, only gender man. Here if I run the report on overall basis, what I will do is I will get the population for Poland and country USA, and for Poland I will get my male and female both, and for us I will only get me. These are the kind of data which I will get. Any questions in this? No? I think it's yes. When you will try, we will get a better understanding of it when we practice it. It will be very much easy for you to understand. I can also remove it and move to visualization, as it depends on the move to this, as in this filter. Let's say move to this filter. It will automatically add it to wish filter and remove some shape filter here in wish. Filter also it works the same, exactly the same, no difference into the content. All the fields are available in the data source will come over here. Let's say if a country location, address, country. I can select this. I will get all. The option is in the selection list channel and I can select the country. Here also I can apply the filters, but on the vis level. There are some I know that I have used different data source for each of the visualization and I can basically apply specific filters for each of the visualization. Now coming to the configuration panel. Configuration panel basically comes up when we have our data into the visualization. It basically helps us in drilling the data. If we see its definition, if we see over here. Configuration panel. Configuration. The detail is not available here, but the main purpose of the panel is to that. Main purpose of the panel is to configure the data that if I drill into it, I will be able to see the data into detail, cover those things when actually work on it. We're just going through on a macro level. Here we covered the point 2, which is the board title. Here's the board title. This is the builder panel. Then we see if we see the third thing here. Third option is the menu option for the board. And the fourth option is that whom we can share. It is the fourth option, and fifth option is to redo and undo option, how we can redo and undo our changes. And apart from it, next option is builder panel, which we already discussed. The builder panel, when we go into this panel, we go to builder panel, see some options into it. Then seventh option is that seventh option is also data source used into it. What kind of data source we have to select it. Eighth option is the fill list. Here, when we click on the builder panel, when we select a data source, get a list of fields which to select, get a list of fields. 8 of 8 option is yes, 8 option we covered. Ninth option is the drop zone for creating the visualizations. Then 10 is the visualization over here that we can see our visualization. These are the 3 visualization which we created, and 11th option is the change, sheet control. The sheet control is, then we can name the sheet, sheet 1, sheet 2, and then we can also add the sheet and remove the sheet. Here also we can, if we click on this 3 linings, I'll be able to see the sheet in a least way here if I want to switch to multiple sheets. What I can do is I can scroll horizontally, but let's say if I don't want to, if there are too many sheets and it is confusing for me to scroll horizontally. What I can do is I can click on that particular option and I can see a drop down list. And then 12th option, control panel is there, which is a control panel. When we want to create a filter and put it in on a control panel, I don't have to always go into the filter, this filter tab and do it. I can always control, I can. Those are the frequently used filters. If there are any filters which are frequently used, I don't want someone to make changes on in all the filters, but I just want them to play around on specific filters. Only then I can put them into that control panel. And the 14th option is for the view as options. That in US, 13 option is the view as options. And that we can see what other BEVS options are available. Matrix QS, chart, donut, scatterplot, waterfall. Then in 14th option is that we get select the dual modes. What we want to keep in y-axis, what we want to keep in x-axis. Do we want to create 2 y-axis? How we want to do it. Then on 15 there is a mark type. For visualization only get a mark type. Let's say if we created a bar chart do we want in a y-axis way or x-axis way? That we'll also discuss. In that the bar will be if we select axis, y-axis, then the bars will be vertical. If you select axis, the bar will be horizontal. Then the 16 option is the back to drive button. The 16 option will go back to the drive. And it is very important that always save your work once you complete with any creation. Because sometimes the things may also get refreshed and your work might also get lost. It is important to save it. Otherwise, it will finish off. Discuss on creation of the discovery board. To create a discovery board, first of all, as I told you, I need to first of all select the I. Just miss the formatting panel. Formatting panel is also when we render sheet will. You will select how you want to format it, basically to add the colors. And all once we do it, we will be able to discuss this thing into the detail, any doubt here, and any of the thing which explained on a macro level will touch base each topics in detail as by building it. But still, if you are not able to understand any particular topic, I think I'm good. But here let's go with one of the basic ones. For let's say here I want I will. Go not with the advanced table, but what I will do is I will put 8 bar chart and here it is asking me for the orientation as in do I want a vertical bar or horizontal bar and how the grouping should be. It should be cluster or it should be stake or it should be a stake of 100. These are other type of things which I can use. Then what I want to put in y-axis, what I put the XSS and what the color is. Let me go here and build a visualization that I total base pay amount. Yes, what I will do is I will click the sum. I will put the sum over here. When I here, all the thing is a drag and drop. Drag and drop makes things very easy. It will also vary out of things which are not used for you. Very beneficial for you. Then use location, address, country. When I let's say pull this file and put over here, it's either asking put in X, axis and Y. Axis of accesses or color. Let's say put in X axis. The press or more resolute contains multiple currency types. It has multi-currency types. We can go to filter and here we can mention that the currency should be here, country should be all euros or let's say the local. Waste pay currency. Let's see if you're getting a currency. Total base pay currency is in list. Let's give euro. Now we are good. Here you can see we got a bar chart ready for us. Let me expand this. Or make this little bigger. Yes. Yes, this is anything which we got here. That what are the options earlier? Here I can name the visualization as. I can mention that pay by rent. Total base pay I come. I'll just save it that it doesn't get the interface. Our data doesn't get. Finished off, I can here also. What I can do is I can also rename this particular thing where we can rename it. Let's say if I don't want to name it sum as total base pay, I can go over here. Or let's say I want to change the name of the sum of the total again. Go to formatting. When I get to formatting here, it is asking me for currency or custom, but it's a currency for me. Then the value, do I want value in negative? I will select. I won't select negative. Why? Because the currency can't be in a negative. Someone's total base pay can't include the negative way if it has negative. I can select in a negative. Let's say there's a field type which has a negative field into it. It will select that one. You can select that one. Then how many decimals do you want? The data for, let's say I don't want any decimals over here. I don't want decimal, I can do it for 0. In display unit, I want thousand, million, billion, trillion. I can in X 1000. Here it will include the separators, the comma based upon the separators. Also, do I want to include a currency symbol, as I can select or unselect it. This option depends on this. What are the field types? Is a currency field. That's why it is asking. Here I can see the sample as I have selected. If I unselect this, that include currency symbol and check it here at the currency. Symbol will go off. This all depends on my configuration. Here again, since I can see the sample, it's not that I have to always do the things and run the report here. The functionality is good that I can test it, what it will look here. Let's say include separators for thousands. If I remove it, the separators won't be there. But if I click out, it will give me separators with the thousands. I give apply. Once it's give apply, here you can see that the data is very much clear. The decimals have went off. Now this name is very not appropriate to read. Someone won't be able to read it. If someone's from management, it will be tough for them to read it. I will go to field options from here and I can rename it. Whatever me and renaming, I will rename in this total base pay. I remove the sum. I should totalize, and I am assuming that total is they are sum only. We apply. Once I do the changes, that same changes will reflect over here. Same for the country. I can go to country, I can go to field option. Here you can see for country. The formatting option is not available because it's an instance field. The formatting option will only come for a field which it supports. For if it's not coming, that means it's not supporting for it. I go to field option here. The location address is country is there. I can remove it, I can make it. Apply and I will save it. Here you can see the bar chart looks very clean to us. Which was it? Previously, here we have always an option. If I go to formatting, it's got refresh. Let's say now we are into Discovery Boards. We have already created Discovery Boards. It's a good thing that it got refreshed. I will be able to explain that. It refreshed. Now, if I want to access the Builder panel, I won't be able to do it. Why? It is giving me a sheet. Least I have to go to Edit. And after to go to Edit, I have to click on this Builder panel. And then only I will get these options. If we don't do that, we are into View mode. We are into View mode. View mode enables us only to see the things and not to modify the Discovery board. Once we change it, let's say I go to field option and I want to reset to default. I can also do the reset to default as, let me cancel. And here we created the bar chart. And now we want to change the orientation of it. Here it's vertical. Let's say I want to do a horizontal way. I can give horizontal as. In that way, all the dimension will change. X-axis, which was a total base pay, which was in Y-axis. It went to the X-axis. And now we are able to see the data in this format. If I click on this and I want to stake it with 1-on-1, if the data is there, let's say if there are multiple data in X-axis, total base pay clubbing, with anything else, I can club it with this here as it will stake it. Over the base pay apart from it, let's say I want to 100. Stake all things will be max but 100% only. All thing values will be same, but when you hover over a thing, I'll be able to see the total base pay here. Once it 1, 7, 6, 10 is there. Here 2, 7, 6 is there. Here 1, 3, 0 is coming. Depending on the scenarios, I will be using these things. Apart from it, let's say I want to use the same thing into a line chart level to do it. Yes, in line set also, I will be able to see this working. But you can see in line chart, I'm not getting any other options, which I was getting into bar chart. Then here in optional, let's say here I want to put in colors also. Colors is what? When I put this, this basically shows us in detail about the things. Basically, supervisory organization gives us colors. Basically, these are the bifurcations. I will be able to understand the one supervisor's one column. Yes, column is same. But here we are. We will be able to see that this particular thing, this particular supervisor organization doesn't in which one. Let me put it in this way. Yes, the grouping has been done this, that this is Austria is there, France is there. France has been divided into different organisms supervising organization. If I click on this green one, I will get super business service consulting. Rather than I go on this, I will be able to see a call center friends group. Then I go to for pink one. I will be able to see consulting services. Fry group. Furthermore, what it did is it break down the countries based upon the support, and which I can see over here. Let's say if I want to only see the call center, this one I'll be. The particular bar will get highlighted, and let's say if this particular other is there, other is present in everyone, that will be highlighted over there. Why is it the other one? Other ones are basically here. The limitations are there that we can't. I mean, there should be a particular limit to it. Let's go. In field option, it won't be there. But other one is basically the rest which are not covered into it. Basically, there will be some limitation for the chart, it won't be able to present every data here. That is why it will pull the miscellaneous, supervise the organization. In this one, let's say it will show us only the top 2 or top 3 or top 5. Option over here, and the rest is going to be summarizing to the others. Yes, correct. In others, if I click on this other, it is showing me others, but it is summarizing them. Others will consist of the rest of the one. For a better picture, what I can do is I can add a filter and filter. I can mention one biggest runs. If we location, I'm just trying that. If we narrow down the search, are we getting the other super as? Let's see here, the other option has went off. You can see there's no any other option. Previously it was coming. Why? Because you can see the number of this super org was very small, 34K, 43K. Here we can't see any other one. If I scroll this one, I'm not seeing any other options. Because now, the data was too much. What it does is, if data is more, it will summarize that fields, which is small. Small fields are there. It will summarize it. It will work out of it. But let's say if I remove it here, if I want to remove it, what I can do is either I can determine here what I can move is here I can move to sheet, remove it, or disable it. Let's say I don't want to remove it completely, but I want to disable it temporarily. I can disable it. Let's say if I disable it, the whole data will be gray enough. But still, this filter will be there, not working, but it will be there. Let's say I want to do it. Working, I can enable it. Likewise, if I create a control link, I explain to the control link that if we want to don't use any filter on a regular basis, or we want to use a filter on regular basis, but we don't want to go into the filters, you can see this control panel only is France, and it doesn't have total base pay currency because we have limited that it only uses a filter option for only country and not for rest of the time. The filter which applies over here for France, we can same do it from here as got. Any confusion in understanding the controls? I think you can change France, for example, for a country Germany. Yes, I don't have to. The person doesn't have to go into this option all the time. That person doesn't have to go to filter options and they can do from here only. How will it look? Let me give a save and then show it to you. Now it's collapsed and this is also collapsed. And now we are not into editing mode, we are just into the view mode. Now let's say I want to let's say we want to do the working of it, we want to apply this, we want to apply the changes here. Here we are selected France. Now what we do to go this control and now I can select I don't have to go to filter over. Here I can do here Germany. I can select multiple of them. I will do one at a time review Germany and I will move France and now it will run for that France. But what this controls, the main purpose of this control is that it restricts the end user because we are configuring this as a developer. It restricts end user to not to tweak with all the other filters. There are chances that we might have include multiple filter conditions that the currency. The total base price should be, a currency should be euro. It should be greater than this particular thing. Certain countries should be excluded into it. That we get that. All the filter conditions will be added over here and it might be a case that the end user, mostly the end user for this is the person who are into the management, who are let's say VPs or CO, CTO or any of the management. They don't have any technical expertise of these filters. They don't understand nested group and condition. What are the conditions are? But this control simplifies for them. Let's say here 10 filters are there, but we only want to make them aware only this 2 country and another filter. We can do that accordingly. You basically give them access and they can change it. Location, country, how they want to see it. But if you want to save this in the Excel spreadsheet, it's not going to work anymore because Excel only will have the results. The pictures and data maybe. Yes, it won't work in the other format because basically here, this gives us flexibility in Discovery Board. It's inbuilt in Discovery Board. Function we won't be able to do that, but we can download this. But let's say I can add description as mentioned, but here we can make a duplicate of it and download as a PNG. PNG is in photo format. Let's say if I want this particular thing, chart download into PNG format, I can do it. I can use this in my presentation as let's say I created this. I did an analysis on total base for my country and I want to be included in my presentation. what I will do is I can't. Rather than taking the screenshot, I will just do over here and download. Speng. Once I do it, mostly I won't be able to download it. Let's see if it. We are able to download it. See, we are getting this option. Chart is coming over this. This, we can utilize it and we can paste this in the presentation that it will be useful for us. But it's better to give them the access to the discovered one. Exact. Presentation is basically for very mass field. Let's say there's a company which there's a town hall and they want to inform their employees, all the employees, that what was the performance of the organization the past year. They won't give them access to their discovery boards, but they want to also let the employees know how they perform. They can build the discovery board here and then they can download a PNG and include into a presentation. Because if they give access to each and every employee to discovery boards, first of all, discovery board will crash because too many workers. If people are working on the same product, it might hamper the performance of it. Apart from it, they might also come across additional information about worker organization's financials. These are options available. Apart from it, this option which we covered, here we can see the table as this all thing will be a tabular format. Here table visualization can only contribute. Remove any attribute from summarization. Here this table contains attribute fields. This is basically restricting it from doing it. Let's try removing a supervisor organization. Maybe it will work or we have to remove this only. If the field is peculiar restricted to it, it will be total base pay amount for reporting to currency format. Now will be here for table we have to use another field. You can see the field is names. That this is only used for reporting purpose. Now we can use this same field and let it. I think I won't be able to use it or what? Here also we get this data over here in this format. We can do the thing. This is based upon an update. If I go to donut, let's say donut won't work for this data types, but this data type will only work for the bar cuts. Now what do is shift this to y-axis. Here if I don't select anything, let's say if I give country, then it will give me. Discount 4 to 6. What is this? How many employees are present in that country? Will by default give it to me. Let me pull that back. Why I am not able to find the same field? It's only curator fields with mark. Now I will get it for the display. Here I am getting this euros and all. Now I will go switch to the other one. Line chart, will call it area chart. Area chart basically shows into the area format. It's similar to line chart only, but will fill the below things. Area chart also comes with a stake and a stake 100. If we have multiple reporting in the same, it will stick two things together. It will also have same attributes. Now scatter plot. Scatter plot is the very different concept. Basically, scatter plot is scattering the data scatter plot. We need that data that will explain how the scatter plot works. If I explain you in on Google scatter plot chart, what does scatter plot means? Scatter plot basically is a dotted fields on a chart which will explain what are the key metrics offered. Let me here if I say if I have a scatter plot for height and weight. Here it seems that if someone's height is low, then their weight will be also low. But if someone's height is more, then their weight is also more. Here I can see the trends. You can see, I can see the trends. Here I can see. There is no anyone that the height is too much. The height is he's very tall, but his weight is very less. Scatter plot basically makes us understand that someone's height is also increasing and weight is also increasing. And there are different types of scatter plot as different type as in. Basically, it depends on the data only, but this is more accurate data. In this is very here, see, it is mentioned strong, moderate and weak. Weak as in. There is no particular trend we are able to see. This is the interpretation. This is not actual scatter plot, but this is interpretation. If this is showing a particular flow, it is a strong scatter plot, but if it is scattered everywhere a little bit, it is considered as moderate. If it is completely scattered, it is a weak scatter plot fact, but the best. Example is this one, there is someone's height is increasing and weight is also increasing. We can assume that height and weight are proportional to each other. If height is increasing, weight will also increase, or weight will increase, height will. Vice versa. Basically because not vice versa. But if there's a height is more, then the weight will also more. It's not that someone is taller and its weight is very less. It's a correlation somewhere. Exactly. Basically, the correlation may not be there directly, but it will make us understand what are the correlations actually exist in that. Then it will also, here we can see the performance of, here we can see based upon the country, that what are the average performance and month of employment. If someone who has 45 months of employment, his performance is more. Here we can see a trend that the more the people older are, their performance is more. These are the month of employment and this is average performance. We can see that the new joiners don't have any high performer, the old employer. Employees have only high performance. There are low performance as but for Canada only. Now what I can do is I can see the trend that here the blue dot is for United States and red dot is for Japan. I know that here I can see that for USA and Japan. The high performers are there in the who are older employees. But for Canada there are no high performers. Now I can create my strategy in a way for older employees that they can be a high performer. I can give them some training. I can give some solution. If there's any issue they are facing, I can solve it out from here. This basically helps in strategizing and it very high level understanding of any particular thing. As I mentioned, for this we need that data. which will help us in doing that we can achieve it by maybe, let's say, doing it part chart and saving it. Let me give it the age. If we get, basically it will. Require the field types to in order to show it. For now, for this particular logic, we are not able to build it, as we can see that the data should be in that way that we can reflect it, that you can do a trial and error. But basically, I will just give an overview how we can use those things and what are the concepts of it. Here we covered a scatter plot. Now heat map. Heat map is also very similar to not similar, but it has very different functionality. I'll show heat map chart. Heat map basically shows, it highlights the color. Let's say if I want to heat map for a particular chart, let me open a particular example. This is an example of heat map. It is based upon country, but we can also apply based upon numerics, as here the heat map is based upon the temperature. The temperature is more into the lower region of USA. This is a map of USA. Here we can see that in USA the lower regions are more hot and the east coast and west coast are completely very cold. And the center part, or the top center part, but it's basically a moderate. It has moderate one. This is heat map basically shows, this is in terms of temperature. You can also see in terms of the charting as, let me pull an example for it. See here the top smartphone rating is there. This heat map has been created by top smartphone rating. Top smartphone, the models are there. And top smartphone ratings are there. Here we can set a limit that. If it's more than 9, it's best. If it's less than 9, it should be average. It should be average. And red is bad. These are the criteria. Basically, Samsung has a processor rating is 8.7. It's good. But it's 8.5 of screen size 8.5, it's average. Then it's prices is very good, battery backup is good, but camera is also 8 by this eye. We'll be able to understand it on a heat, on a basis. Now visually basis I will be able to understand. See, Nokia Lumia has the best rating far. I can understand because it is majorly. It is green, this is green. Processor is good, screen size is good, price is good, better, but camera it lacks. I'll be able to understand it. Everyone has two things which are missing here. Only one thing is bad. I can take decision accordingly for me. Heat map is according that if some rating is very bad, it will turn red. This is what? This is how the heat map would work. It's up to me what kind of matrix I want to keep it. Based upon that, it will show me the heat map. Heat map also, I need that. I want that particular matrix, basically. Data to showcase that. Now go to select a KPI over here. KPI is just, it will show a test number. It's nothing much. Let me put sum of average, or here what I did is KPI. KPI is enough. KPI, as it in symbol shows, it only shows us the number KPI. The KPI is, let's say, if someone is, you're aware of YouTube. You might be surfing YouTube. Yes, in YouTube, that there are many YouTube creators, content creators, tracks their number of services. Subscribers, how many people are following them. The more the number, the more it will be achievement for them. It is very similar for them. It's a PI, which is a matrix, but that will be able to analyze it. People generally also keep this for age to understand how our organization is. Here what I did is I did an average age. Average age denotes that my organization is very young because the average age of my organization is 22. If it is increasing, I can understand that my organization is growing old and my organization has more old people and less young people, that I can strategize and I can take decision accordingly. Let's say if this P shows 60, that is concerning for me because the age of retirement is very near and the company also needs to pay their retirement if there is any particular rule that you need to pay the retirement. For that, to limit it, I can, and the organization is aging, I can recruit new hires and I can compensate it accordingly. Pi is nothing, it's just a key. Matrix, it just shows the number, it is also similar. If I go to formatting here, I can change the formatting as number, percentage a custom, whatever I want. Here let's say you custom. Custom is, I can search some custom things I can here this is decimal, I can only name it here that I want only this format, it will give me in this format. Let's say I don't want 00. I can go to formatting. I know age sure it shouldn't be more than 100. I can remove this one. I will give this option is not available at the moment. Check us. Here this 2 option is there. I can pull it. I can do it this because the maximum age is 100. I can do it this that out of 100 the average age is 22. This is how it looks. To access the drive, we have to go to the profile section. For there, we need to collect the drive. By click on the drive, we will be able to see different data types which we can use into store in the drive. Basically, drive is a cloud folder from where we can store all the things over here. It can be spreadsheet. It can be discovery boards. It can be file media. If we click on, you will be able to see these options over here. If you go to upload as up in upload, we can upload any of the files which we want. This is working. What we can do, what here? Let us open our file which we created and go to edit. Here we discussed that what this interface looks, and from here we can choose the business object of our choice. From here, let's choose. First of all, let's untick. If you're not getting any fields or data sources over here, you can go to these 3 dots, which is a red action of the data source. And over here you can uncheck this, both of them. Both of them are kept for curated data sources, which are enhanced ones. In that get only limited options available. Why it has tapped in that way? In Discovery Board has also a timeout. Let's say if the data which is to be displayed is too long, it will time out. It will display all the data available. There's some limitation. It's not a limitation in any number, but it is advised to always use the index data source. And apart from index data source, the data should be rubbed with filters that it gives the output very quickly. Here we choose worker for HCM reporting. if there are any default data source filter available on this data source. It will ask us, we will choose all workers only, and here are the prompts. We won't give any prompts, then go to Builder panel, where the panel will get all the sheets available or all the fields available. This is a filter prompt, and this is a configuration panel, and this is this one, a formatting manner. Now coming to this one, we discuss how we can choose the fields from here and put it over here. And we will also discuss various types as bar chart, line chart. We can choose any of them. Now we will see a pivot table and see how we can use this configuration panel. Let's say I want to see how many. How do we use this? To see how many people are there in the country level, what I will do is I will click this country in the row and I will give gender over here in the column. To water, it will give me gender, the columns, and row in the countries. Now I can expand this. Visualization as by me. It's not that it's fixed. I can also maximize this from here as this, both functionality I can do also. Now let's say I want to see the count of it, that maximize it. And now I want to see, I would drill down. I'll drill down in this 19 one. What are the counts? Are there? But not, I am not able to do it. For that, what I can do is I can go to this configuration panel. In configuration panel, the main function of the configuration is show details, and show details I can uncheck that in. Order for this wish, I will enable this first, and all this new. Enabled, what I can do is I can do this and I can show it away in. In this, the deferred option will be available for me. This all fields, I will be able to see it. Here I get what I did. Yes, I will. You'll be able to over edit. For now, this particular data source come with this default fields. What I can do is I can over edit, but before over editing I will show you. I will disable it. Worker support, job title, scale, locations, all things will be shown to me, and I will click on it. Now let's say when I go on this, if let me disable first this option, here when I click on it, let me disable this drill. Bias, when I go here, I'm not able to perform anything. I'm just only getting location, address, country and Australia, female and. Now when I go to show details over here, I will be able to see this details fields. See, when I enable this, it's asking to show details. When I click on this, I will get all this field available for that 19 workers. I have given a few. Now those 19 worker detail data I'm getting over here. I'm getting Elena this Kalisti Tadlot Gary. I'm getting all the details. This is what I am loving my work, from visualization data to a detailed data. And these are the fields. Let's say I don't want any of the field. I can remove it from here as I don't want to. I'm sorry, I can't. What is the meaning of the symbols next to location? For example, that means one-to-one connection or a call center. This symbol. This is one to manage relationship for skills. And for location, it is one-to-one relationship. What is the TF on the top performer? The TF is a true or false condition. TF It's a boolean, basically true or false, true/false, which is also known as boolean. Basically, it's a true or false. Then this is numeric hashtag and this is currency. Symbol in the bottom one. This thing is basically in, and here we generally prism, we don't UV. Don't use, don't have help of this symbol. We generally work on a theory basis on that. We generally have it, but not much over there. Also, I think I explained you regarding this data what is one-to-one relationship, one-to-my relationship in the Excel file. That makes sense. This will be about the symbols. This will be widely used when you will be working on Workday reporting in, because over there you to determine that what are the relationships are there, and when you are to pull the file from any of other data types, it will be very helpful for you to understand what data types are. Let's say I want skills on a worker profile, but I don't know what all the cells I want, the skills which are only related to worker's profile only. Those skills I will be able to pull it out based upon by creating EC means. I will only extract one single instance out of it. Any questions in here in understanding the detailed data? No, I think it's basically here. What we can do is we can use this override and we can remove all of them over here. Remove, let me remove far. Was a question? Now I will go to this one worker and click on it. I will get only this 3 fields. Why? Because I only chose this. This is how it works. Now we go to configure it. This configure, we can do the formatting, but here we can see there are no formatting available for this time. We can change it. Let me not do it that. Won't work. Begin. The mode is gender. Now I can go to this. I can choose the palette. Let's say I want to signify the females with the pink or magenta color. I can do that. And male by blue color. I can do that and cannot declared I will make it. Gray because I'm not sure about them, and for the rest not declared I will do white. I can do this. This is the paletting option we can do. These are the basically palettes. Available 12 color high contrast colors. It seems high contrast. I can drop down outfit and I can use it. This is classic pastel colors. This is high contrast colors. Based upon that I can use it based upon my need, but still I can anyhow I can go and over edit, as it's up to me how I want to do it, because some people are also have the color blindness, as it provides us a way that the colors are not ignored in it. Here you can see that the full form is also there. Hazy is high contrast and color blind friendly. If I click on it, this is the color blindly one. Color friendly. That is how we can do. This is what. This will be effective for whole sheet. And this is for vis filter. Let's say I have multiple vis and I want different colors for different visualizations. I can do that. But here I only have one visualization. That's why this is not coming. But if I have it, will come over here. and I will save this one. Now we can. KPI is just a count. Let me show you count. Because these fields are these fields which we are, with the graphs which are using. Actually, it needs some measures. I think we covered also this KPI. But I will just show it again. KPI is what it will show the numbers only. It's in symbol also, it's here. Let me search for Google and show you KPI chart. Here it's saying Kifi Power By because Kafa are very common. These are used in every C. You can see Excel Power BI. It is used everywhere. It's very generic. It's not limited to Workday. You can see Kafi charts are showing just numbers 595, 68, 890. It is used for showing the numbers only. Let's say I want to see the average age group of my organization. I can do that. Here I can see that my organization has average age of 19. Again, I know that my organization is comparatively young. If this count goes on increasing, then the management should know that the age is increasing day by day and we need to hire some new people into the organization. This is one of the application which we used. Let's say when you create a new report for the hiring, trends to show what are the group of workers that are working. In that you will be using this kind of KPIs. This KPIs can be also used for, let's say you are building a report on survey. This is what I will share with my personal experience. I created one report for the survey and I had to create a KPI chart. KPI chart was what? How many new has? The survey was for new has. 1, there were 3. Surveys for the new joiners. The people who have joined and it's 30 days but less than 40 days. For them, one server will get triggered. Then it was for 60 days and 90 days that company wants to know that how was your questions were different for a server. For 30 days, they were generally questions that how was the joining experience, and for 60 and 90 days, they were more detailed that are you comfortable with the management, or is the management answering all the questions or not? How's the overall experience for you? In that I need to create a KPI chart. How many percentage of people have completed survey? Let's say I know that only 30% of people completed the 30-day survey and 40% have completed 30-day survey. Then what I can do is I can then I can create a detailed chart over here. This is the just KPI for, let's say I will name it as a 30-day matrix. Day matrix. Here it will show it for 30 days only, but that 30, 60 and 90, then I can create a detailed chart in below which will show me the detailed data that I can go and turn down it, and I can see that for which supervise the organization. How many count is missing? I know that I can see that is for a particular organization. All the too many people are there who haven't completed the survey, that I can contact that manager and I can ask that, please can you guide your subordinates, your employees, the people, the reportees, that they can complete the survey. By this we can use this KPI chart. We covered this. This waterfall chart is basically seeing the progress. Or basically you can see the increasing value of this value. That is, I'm not sure what particular field type which we used. Because all the charts are very requirement oriented. If you have that particular need, that only will be created. Otherwise, in other charts you can randomly pick things and it will work. Just try me with the H if it works. Yes, I think something is up showing. Yes, this is a chart based upon the age groups. Here I can see that maximum people are of 22 age or less than 22 age. The count 839. Then this is what this is. What this is, falling lesser waterfall. Let me maximize it. This is what this is, falling a waterfall. You can see that it is falling, falling, falling. And if I see this small thing, I can see that went for the age of 29. This 13 people are there. The count is the count which is showing is total count. 895 is the total count, and here the plus is showing. It is showing me how many people are being added to it. For the age of 39, this many 81 people are there, and this is keep on. Adding the total count, this count is 9037 and it keeps on adding this, and it keeps on increasing. This is a waterfall. Age is getting increased. This helps in showing the flow of the data in terms of the waterfall basically. This we can use into this we can club a bit with the increasing of expenses or increase of. You can mention that headcount as, or you can mention it in headcount. Also, let me check if the field is there, headcount. I'm not sure it will be here. No, headcount is not there. But if you see with the DILD name of, let's say, any payroll increase for, let's say, for finance, we can include that if their rent is increasing, if they are making profits or not. If the waterfall is completely increasing, then we will be able to club it up. Let me show here. Maybe people joining the company, for example. When you open a new department, the people starting slowly joining, and there is more and more people. Yes, headcount is the same. Headcount is basically, headcount is a bit different, it's almost same. Headcount shows that how many active workforces there in your company. Headcount's formula is something ending count, the headcount is being determined by the ending active counts and active new joiners. Basically, just let me to by typing over here headcount basic formula. It will consider the first of all ending head. Count, and secondly, it will take is as ending terminated count and active workforce here. Is that cat cause? Let's say you have 50 full-time employees working and 12 part-time. This will be confusing for you. Let me put it in that way that let's say you have active 100 employees. Are there for a month of October, and month of October 100 employees are there, and then I know that in October 10 people got hired and 5 people got terminated. What I will do is I will first of all do the calculation based upon that joiners minus terminated ones, 10 people newly joined and 5 people got terminated. I will find the difference, which is 5. Now I already have a 100 active count. 100 active count plus the difference of this, I will get 150 1 Got it. Or shall I explain this formula again? No, I think it's a good idea, but can you For example, because I know we went through the calculated fields. And I that what you say that you first do the calculated fields and then you put them into the chart, that makes sense to me. But how do you add the calculated field here? Here in calculate field, the calculate fields are just other fields here. If I open the fields, let me here also. Some fields are available. If lets me type CFS with friends there, figured I really know any calculus fields are there. But if I search the calculate field over here, it will show here. This just adding a field, a calculate field also. I will be able to add it over here. And then this the thing which I saying it is not, is it? Let me see if this one it is an open new sheet. Basically in certain business objects. Also in certain data sources. Just if I see the trended reports, there's a Workday report type trended reports. And that there's a field with the name of active headcount. Utilize those fields for my logic, I can use them. Let me check if I can show it to you quickly. Trended worker. Ending headcount. This is a field. This is not in a calculated field. This is a by default field which is no matter returns one integer of the worker employed in the contract. Includes terminated on period and date. Let's say if I run this report, I will be able to see how many people got hired in the fiscal. It's being grouped by fiscal period to provide your organization cost center and with the company. This is just for understanding. This is not part of Prism or Discovery Board. But as I mentioned, that Workday is very huge. There are too many things available. And this report tag was headcount only. It is very specifically used for headcount only. Sure, what you? Can do is you can play around with this with the fields and you can play on the fields and data sources and the charts and will have a better understanding related to field scale. Apart from this, I will talk about here I did a change. I forgot to show you. What I did is I mentioned the field by in decreasing order. I can go to this option. I can change the flow of it as, let's say if I keep it ascending, it would be very odd to see that it is increasing and then dropping the age. But if I see the increasing chart, then it will be very good to see for me that the age is being increasing and then dropping from any particular age. It's up to me of what visually appeals me. Keep that in that way. This is one part. You can just play around. Now we will see how we can share this report, this discovery board to someone else. When this option, as I mentioned earlier, this is for sharing things. When I click on share, window will pop up. This is taking time. Here I can share my walking with people. When I go to share, I can share with individual as I can share with the group, as in let's say I want to share with all sign, or let's say on to benefit provider. There might be a group with the benefit provider. Group or maybe there might be auditors. I can I can share with the auditor as that I can search all the available groups. This group is not only this group is dependent on the organization, it's your organization has audited group, then only I will be able to search the audit group over here. Then I will search with the individuals. Here also I can get options, get, shall I give the view access or data access if you might be using. Have you used Google that in Gmail? When which G sheet you have used? I think in the Google Workspace. No, I think no. I just mostly use the Microsoft software because that's something my company is have. Notice, but when you share a file, we give two options, view access or edit access. I think in Excel also, when we share an Excel with someone Microsoft Excel, we can give someone view access and edit access, as here we can decide that whether we wanted individual just to see the data, or they can also edit the X data when you click on it. Let's say I want to share is Logan McNeil and I will search on it here, the lower name. You can click on this and I can, if you want to type something, I can mention that this is a 1115 Discovery Board created for testing. Let's say if she receives this and the name is very generic, it said that the name is payroll and it's not understandable. I can do a write up that what payroll exactly. I can explain over here. This item in this situation, Logan McNeil is our account. We share it with ourselves. Or am I wrong? I didn't got you. Logan, isn't that account we are using? Logan McNeil is an individual person. If I remove this Logan, I'll search over here. It will show me Logan's profile. See Logan Jake, Logan is a CEO. Logan McLean is a vice president. I'm sharing this with that particular person, individual. I'm not sharing with the position. I'm sharing with that particular person. Yes, I'm sharing with a particular person. Let's say that particular person left the organization and this particular discovery would access will also go off with her. What happened with the discovery board that doesn't have how to say that and it is not enabled to anybody. This is shared with us. If it is not shared with anyone, it will be showed as me only here see only me, access only me, and here this report. Billing System Analysis Discovery Board. It is created via Prism. It is owned by Teresa and it is shared with 4 people and 2 groups. If I click on it, I'll be able to see Teresa as shared. If I go to share, I will go over here. It's being shared with finance admin. It's a group. See, this is symbol of individual and this is a symbol of group. Finance admin group shared with editor option and report admin can see as an edit option. And it is separately shared by Alex, Gwen and Logan. Now let's say I want to add another as, let's say I want to share it with Jack Logan. I can click all over here and I can share it as, if I do the share, his name will also appear over here. And here the individual person, some information will be also there. Let's say I have shared with Alex. Alex is vice president. If finance admin is there, then no information available because I know that the finance admin names it is something related to finance people. That's the setting option for it. Let me open the share option again. Here for example, who has access? I can share it over here and I can see who has access over here. This is Service Center representative. and this is one, the normal one. I can search Logan share, and here 2 people is coming to up to me. How do you want to share it with people? How I don't want to share it. Any confusion is sharing thing. Can you take down the sharing for somebody? Yes, I can go to who has access. I can see Logan has access. I can just click close and the permission via changes, and I can then close. And here again we cannot see only me. There's many options such as or something. If we remove that person from that sharing option, and we won't be able to see that this. Apart from sharing, here the options are that open, share, rename, move. I don't have to always go into the open option or edit option to share with someone. I can do it from here, as then I can move to the particular folder. Let's say I created a folder just custom content. I can do what I can do is I click on move, and it will ask me to where you want to go. These are files. These are not they are grayed out, but this is the custom content. Let's say I have created a folder and I want to move that into the particular folder. Then I can click on it. I can mention move here. Also, I can create a new folder as for me. By that I can move this file to another folder as. Can you give the security access to the folder? For example, give that access to the alt folder, and if you everything what is inside to somebody. See here, I give the folder to this access. Yes, I can give those access. That all the people will have this access to things. Let's say I believe that once you give the access to the folder, people who have access to the folder have access to everything in the folder. But if you want to just give somebody an access to the one file in the folder, just go to that file and you make it. But it also depends on security, as let's say I give the access to the whole folder. They will be able to access this discovery world, but they may not be able to see the data. The security team does, the security admin has to look after the security, as because let's say for person doesn't have payroll related data. Let's say in an organization, I have shared this discovery board with a person who doesn't belong to see this data. The sake sharing it, I have shared with that person, but due to his security limitation, he won't be able to see the data into that thing should also be kept in account for it. It's if there's a person who is a cashier of a company and this is a billing system related data, not cashier, but let's say our buyer manager insights, that cashier doesn't have any relation with this one buyer management insight. In that terms, let's say anyhow I find his name in sharing with individual, I shared with him, but due to security limitation, he won't go to see the data. That's interesting actually. Yes, in report. Also, it's the same in Workday. Also, when you create a report and you share with someone, then also first of all, his name will not appear if he doesn't have any security at all. But let's say if he has a little bit of security, his name will appear and you will be able to share it. But once you share it, when the person will try to run the report, the error will come that unauthorized. The person doesn't have unauthorized access. The person doesn't have access to one or more fields into that particular report. Let's say there's a data to payroll. Those are the PI data. What's the information data? Those data won't be there. By that you can also, apart from moving, you can also mark favorites. You can get the info. When was the creator and what was his Workday ID? Workday ID as in, let's say if you want to migrate different tenant, or let's say there are discovery boards with almost similar names, but a very minute changes, I can find the uniqueness from there. Workday ID, I can make a copy of it. Let's say I want to make same, let's say I have created this discovery board, but I want to change. I want to do the changes, but I don't want to disturb the original discovery, and I can make a copy of it and later make a copy of it for the testing only, that I can use it. Any confusion in discovery board? Oh, I think no for now. When somebody, it's good to explain me that, because if somebody is going to come and see, hey, I don't see the report. I have access to it, but I don't see the data. That means he doesn't have a security. It's easy to catch that mistake, or it's actually not my mistake, but an error. Yes, as a step, what you can do is, let's say, if sometimes someone comes up that I'm not able to see the data for age. Let's say if you're taking is there in that table, the fields are worker first name, last name and age. Age is a person information. He says that I am not going to see the age data, then you should have two things in mind. Either the data is not available, or either he doesn't have security. You will open the discovery board. You will see the age. You will see the filters that is there a filter which is restricting the data to pop up if you are able to see the data and the person is not able to see. That means that you have the access, but that person doesn't have the access. By that you can determine the access. And also it is not that sometimes what happens is that sometimes age is not a mandatory field. For all workers, age might not come, but if it is not coming for all, then it might be a security issue. But if it is not coming for some of them, then that might be two things: that person may not, that person, the data is not available, or that particular manager's detail is not shared with them. Let's say if there a manager and B, and you have security access to see the data of age, but it is only limited to your span. It is only limited to your report is, and you're able to see, but you won't be able to see that data for other managers. Basically same security issue. There's no question. We can start with the worksheet. Do you have any questions, or let's start with worksheets? I'm good. Now coming to the Google Worksheets. Basically not Google Worksheets, but Workday Worksheets. I am saying with Google Worksheets is because it is very similar to G Sheet, Google Sheets. Also Microsoft Excel. The UI is very common as Google Sheets. Worksheet is a spreadsheet component in work that it enables ad hoc data explorations. And if you do the exploration of the data, do the analyzations, or do the visualizations of it. And we share with other users as just if I want to share the data with employees or manager executives, I can do that. In addition to it, its function is very similar to Google Sheet and Microsoft Excel. It's not the concept of really different. The functions are very similar. If I want to do a VLOOKUP or want XLOO or UPS, it will be same for Google Sheet and Microsoft Excel, as it won't be different in Workday Worksheet. Worksheet helps us in providing the real-time user experience. If I want to do some changes into the report and want to reflect that changes in real time into the sheets, I can do that. What are the features of the worksheet? In worksheet, you can insert the data from into the workbook, share the workbook with any of the employees' colleagues. We can A comment on sales which we can tag others for the notification, we can collaborate. We can combinedly edit the workbook as with the real-time, with the real-time experience, and we can also provide them who can do the edit. We can give the edit and view access to it. We can create a name version as, let's say, I created a worksheet I saved. Those changes for today's date, but after 1 week I got another changes. I did that anytime I can. See the previous, I can see the previous changes as can revisit the previous version. Apart from it, we can download this workbook in different formats. It's Excel x66, which is Microsoft Excel version, and PDF format, HTML format. That to get this worksheet, as the person needs to configure the tenant accordingly. Domains which are responsible for it are Worksheets and Manage button user. Conversation Worksheets is a generic access to work with the domain. Is Worksheets only. By that, a person will be able to access the Worksheet Manage button user. Conversation is for to comment on the cells. Sometimes we will be drop a comment on the cells. Apart from it, to create a worksheet, we need to go to New. We can go to Workbook and we can name the workbook. Here we can have you mention 25. By this be able to create a new workbook over here. This is out. This view is very similar to the Google Sheet. Here we will be able to see the file here. And we can rename the file, copy the workbook, share the workbook, and what to the template. More to workbook with some else workbook. We can print it as, here we can see this. Download options are available. These are the recently available options. Are available in order to Excel as PDF, and this is tenant migration file. Let's say I want to migrate this workbook. This is something related to internal. This is CSV file. Tab separated HTML and Microsoft Excel file. Then these are the versions. If I click on versions, I will be able to add the version over here then. Info is there in edit. I can see the basic functions cut, copy, paste, special, clear, delete. Select all. These are the functional level. These functions are very similar to Microsoft Excel. Only if I see the view again, freeze the top fan in. Format. I can see the formatting options available. If I go to insert, I can insert pivot table if I want to create a pivot table. Row above below, add a row. I can add multiple rows as then these are the functions. This is a function library available. This is the list of all the functions available which I can do. Let's say I want to do a VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, I can search it, I can click on it and I can see that, or what is the VLOOKUP syntax. There's a VLOOKUP syntax. I don't have to search on Google. If you will search on Google, you will be able to see the things with an example as, let's say, if I search on Google how to use VLOOKUP in Excel, it will show me with an example. Let's say open this VLOOKUP. It will give me an example that, let's say this is a table and you have to do a lookup. What kind of formula we're using? Here I'm looking up, a value is searching ID and here's the VLOOKUP. This is a formula, it's typing. It's one value in their order spreadsheet. No, I was saying that with a VLOOKUP, you just search for one value between two spreadsheets. Yes, between two spreadsheets as within the spreadsheet as, let's say here they have made a VOP, that is a search ID. Let's say someone has a search ID. search ID and they'll enter a search ID. Then the name of this particular B column will come. Let's say someone enters 2. Let's say someone enters 1. The Bulbasaurus name will come. It matches with this particular data. If someone enters 13, will come. From here, it's looking up the value based upon the search ID within the sheet and within the sheet as from other sheet as, but here in workbook we won't be able to field lookup across the sheets. Let's say for sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 we can do between them, but here there is a limitation. This limitation is for workbook, this worksheet as Google Sheet, but for Microsoft Textile it's not a limitation for Microsoft Excel. Let's say I have 2 separate files stored in different folders till I can do the lookup. That is the limitation. In Google Sheet as the worksheet, as here I can insert I can see the formulas and functions and again insert those functions. These are the data as in let's say I want to refresh the data, add light data, sort the data, define a name of it. I can do that. Then filter, I can enter the filter as here private filter and public filter. Private as in let's say I met a file is shared with multiple people and I want to apply a private filter. I have got a task assigned and that 10 people are named, but I want to see only my name. You can apply a private filter. But from that there is a user guide as and function reference as all things are very similar. Here the change is that the sharing option with whom I can share. Link sharing option. Just in Google, if you share the file with someone, they will get a link offered. I can also enable it. Or let's say I can copy this. I can share this link with someone that, hey, you can use this link as a copy paste it. And once they use it, this thing will come and copy things from here as they don't have to go deep into Drive and open this particular sheet and all. You can directly click on this and I can have access to this particular worksheet. Let's begin with where we live. The previous session we completed with all the Discovery Board part, all the topics related to Discovery Board, and we started with the workbook. Yes. Now, for the workbook, I gave you a brief introduction, a small introduction on how we can create a new worksheet, and in worksheet, what are the other options which we get, where all the things are located functionally. And let's say if I want to pull any function, from where I can find the function list. We discussed all this top part of this Excel. Coming to the investing the data into the worksheet, we can also manually enter the data into the worksheet, just we do in Excel. What you can do is you can copy the data from anywhere and we can just paste it over here, or we can upload the file as but what in case if you want to merge the data together, just Prism, where we take the external data and merge it together. Here also we can merge the data by 2 ways. First of all, we can ingest the data or we can upload the Excel workbook file over here, and after uploading over here, we can merge it with the existing workbook. That the external file will be merged with our current working file, and apart from it, the other option is that we can play around with the data available in the custom report. How we can do this? How we can ingest a custom report in the worksheets? For that, we need to first of all see that how we need to enable things for this workbook to get the work done. Let me pull out any report. I think this would work for us. of this report. For ingesting any report into Vulkit. What do we have to do is we have to go to edit option of any custom report, or else if you are creating in a report, we have to go to advanced option over here. When we go to our advanced option here, we need to. It's already enabled for web service and web service API. Apart from it, we need to enable for worksheet over here. When we enable it for worksheet, the report will be available for us to ingest it. I will give and I will go over here. Now I want to go to add live data. I will go to add live data and I will search with the report name over here. My report name was what? Worker data worksheet. The name came. Here include the report for enable worksheet, not enable worksheet. Let's say if I have a report which is not enabled for a worksheet, that I can pull it over here, which we include in the list, but it is always advised to include this always enable for a worksheet option. We have to choose once I click on DB worker. Data, the report which we created or the one which we enabled for the worksheet. When we click on it, get what type of report it is. It is advanced report. What columns are available into it. We'll get the list of all the columns. I don't need to always go and open the report over there. It will be a manual work for me. In worksheet itself, I will be able to browse to different reports and be able to see what kind of fields are available into it and go to next. Now here I will get an option to choose what kind of fields I want. Let's say I have a report which has 52. 100 fields, just an example, and I want to do working on it. But I don't want all of the data into it. Let's say I want to use that report as a reference. I have a report which has all the basic PI data and I want to use it every time. What I will do is I will not always create a new report. I will use the existing report and pull the fields out of it. Here it is showing me what are the available columns. Are there here? As we saw in the previous one. The previous one, we saw that this 13 in this report also you can see 13 items are there. There are also 13 items are there. I don't want every each one of them. I will go to next. I can pick each and every of them. Or here, this I'll put it here. I can also rearrange as over here. Let's say you want to put the legal name here and I don't want to take the middle name. I want the last name. You can take the last name now. I will take the worker. You can see I forgot to add the work over here. What I did is I rearranged it. As I want to rearrange it, I can rearrange it as that way that thing which we can get now. Keep the hide it and look at the gender. And we will pull the location city. And if you don't want to do this manually, we can also do a plus plus. That's completely. It's not that only drag and drop option will come. You can also do plus or less over here and click plus. It will get added. Yes, it will be more from the end of the article. Yes, it will be appended at the end of the table. Drag and drop option is where we will use that, where we want to insert the column in between any two of them. Let's say we want to enter the age over here. I'll pull this and I will insert over here. That is how we can do it. Now after doing this, we have an option to preview the data as, because let's say I build a report very back. I'm not sure what kind of data it will come. I can preview the data over here and I will get a sample data. Sample data is in from the existing data only, but very few data rows will come. Here I can see. See, you can see all the details has been populated, but only for limited over. Of course, not all of them. Here I am able to see all the things available now. Here there's an option with add note to column. Let's say I want to add a note to a column. I can do that. I have added note that total waste pay here. Total base pay amount is there, but no currency is there. I can add a note saying when I will do this edit. Note for total base pay, and we are doing if can see that the field is in blue and the note is in yellow. I can add a note over here, but not at the moment. This is not an added mode for the note, but I can do it for it. This is where let's say I am doing a test cases over here, or that I can mention a note and I can add a formula column as let's say I want to add a formula to all of it and formula on sheet. Here is saying add note to sheet, add format of sheet. Here it is just adding a column. To it we are not the formula. Once we give this thing will be available for us. Let me close this. Both of them now. This option is for sort by column and sort order. Let's say I want to sort the sort all sort column employee ID and the order will be a sort ascent. If I want to do descending, we will do the descending as once I give next and done, I will be able to do it. The data may not refresh automatically. I can check and uncheck this option and check whether it got refreshed or not, but anyhow, it will be eventually. This will sort it once we are done on it. I will give it this. I will get next. Here, once I give next, I will get two options. One option is live data. Maintain a connection to Workday data. You would assess the content on a live data AD on demand. And one is the static data doesn't maintain a connection to Workday. A snapshot of the report will be taken and inserted as a static value. The first option is used when I will be requiring the report on a, let's say, regular basis. I want the data to be refreshed on a daily basis. Let's say someone got hired automatically. My sheet will get updated, but static value is used when I don't have a need. I just wanted to extract the data, do some calculation and show it to airsoft it, because sometimes what happens is when we create an Excel file, we might be creating some calculation from our end, but what happens sometimes a new data comes up when all our calculation get finished off. It also happens that we want to show a snapshot of every month, and we decided that we will show for each financial year. Every country is a different financial year. Let's say for a country, if the financial is from January to December, but let's say the data got refreshed and now we have January to December data, but now we have additional January data for another year. What will have is this will impact our data. In that case, in those scenarios, use the static values. We can mention a static value for previous 3 financial here, and by this it won't load any data before 3 years and after 3 years. Here we will choose a live data for now. Table name if you don't provide a table name. Worksheet assigns one to the user guide. Table name as in what that being name of the table if you are inserting. You remember? In we have table. The data is stored in a tabular format or in a normal format. It's showing accordingly that, and limit the number of rows inserted. I've only no data more than, let's say, 100. I can mention that in that term. If I want the data for test, I can limit it. I can limit the number of rows inserted when the data is being reset. Really? I will uncheck it. Highlight the live data area. It will highlight the data which keeps on updating on a regular basis or which is a live data. By that, I will be able to see all the new entries shown over there. Restrict live data editing. Refresh to the owner only for live data work. It is a very good option that when there is a live data, we don't want to mess it up by someone who is not a technical person of it. It gives an option to restrict this to the owner only. Only owner can do the edit to the live at the workbook which is enabled. For the live data, apart from it, enable multi-instance value. Multi-instance value we have is over here is, let's say, dependence of multi-instance value. Let me just add it up. See mega, you can see we previously saw, if you might remember. Remember that Logan McNeil was there. She had two spouses, Megan and Pat. Now they both names are coming, but in a comma. Megan Mill, Pat McNeil. Now, if we enable for multi-instances, be able to see in a multi-instance way, but not in a single line. Then global prompts set as a source report. Every report, the report which you created, this report, if I go to prompts and here, these are the prompt values available for it. Do I want the prompts or I want prompts set as a source report? Let's say if a source report is taking work or type as employee only and not contingent. Then it will use a source filter only. Can disable it over here we can. If our working is completely separate, what people will do is, let's say people is. If people are creating this report specifically for this workbook, then I can attach this report's prompts with this data. But let's say I am creating this report is this workbook. With using any additional report, then I should keep it. Then I should not enable it then. Then if I go to static option here, in static option also, just live data, we are getting too many options. In static, we are only getting limit number of rows inserted. If I want I just want initial 25, 50 rows. For the testing, I can select it. I will give you live data and enable this and give it. Once we do this, the workbook starts loading it. And you can see a table has been formed over here. I can see the table and the data is loaded. And here all the detail has been pulled off over here. What? And now as we have the data, now we can see that all the data is there, and now when I can see on in Logan McNeil, I can just click on here and just go directly to her profile. This function is very huge, which we don't get in Excel or in Google Sheet. Why? Because this system, this worksheet is being integrated with the Workday, we are able to directly access the profile. Otherwise, what happens is this is my personal experience, or you might be also have stated that when you work on access it, we extracted the data and let's say 2005 people data and some workers data is missing. What you will do is we will manually copy the employee ID of that particular worker. Go to the Workday tenant and search it, log into it and see the details. When it's 1 or 2, it's fine, it's not an issue. But when this data is for, when the data is for, when we are to test it for multiple worker, it's very time consuming. This is where we use this particular feature of the workbook. Here, as we saw, we can create a different, let's say this table has been created. This is the limit of the table. Here we can do the working. Now, here we can insert the column and do the calculation all and do everything now. Here, when you click on table, get this live data option. It is showing the status. Report name from which that this table is being executed, from which report type a last refresh date. And they took 6 seconds. This timing is also very important. That if it is taking more time, we should understand that there might be some issue. With it here, this is very important now. Workbook schedule, no. Refresh schedule is there for now. What we are doing is we are clicking on this, and we are manually refreshing the data now. We can also create a schedule to refresh the data every day or every week, or depending on our needs, which by that this data will be updated on a regular basis. But let's say I want to keep it manual. I can keep it manual, as here are the columns. If you take an edit, when I go to edit, it will directly go to the edit option which we discussed earlier by ingesting my data. From here again, edit and remove the data. Here it is saying moving columns around my break formulas, because that the formulas are based upon the columns, that column. I am giving any data, but now let's say a column is a numeric and worker is a text. If I interchange this both, then the formula may not work. It's just for a reference that this won't work if we move the columns. We can move the columns anyhow, but we need to make sure that the formula might get disturbed and we might need to adjust it. Now this is how we can do this. We do it here also. You can see the options. This is a table which has been created in just Microsoft Excel. We can create a table when you go to insert in Excel. We will get a table. Insert it. This is a pivot table. Your table is different and table is different. Table will take a bunch of detailed data, and pivot tables can help summarization of the data. Here, we'll get this option. We can enable from multi-sense on. The limit of number of rows is being off. And it is saying as highlight live data. When, let's say when any of the data is being highlighted, it will directly show over here. This is how it works. Let me just limit the number if I can. My thing we want will trade. Here we can also I start a conversion. I can start a conversation. That the red Logan. Share with, first of all, I need to share the worksheet with that particular person in order to comment it. What I will do is I will first of all share with this person, and then only I'll be able to comment on that. I can see that it is asking me this should be with this particular people. I can add a comment that please review, please create formula. Total base pair. I'm giving you a comment on it. That all the people who are seeing the data, they will be able to refer this. Here are my commenters. I can also edit and delete it, as I can reply to it that it will become a thread. Sometimes we see that the discussion is going on. People keep on commenting and the topic might also keep on changing. If I give reply over here, it won't directly add to it. It will just top it up with that. Now when I go back here, I can see a new conversion has not initiated, but rather thread has been created. When I click on this, I'll be able to see all the detailed things over here. This will This will help us in organizing this thing in a very efficient way. Because let's say first comment I did was to create a formula for total base pay, and then I told that shorten this country in a way that it should be according to the ISO codes, which is USA, that the ISO codes for the country. I also code 3, which are in three alphabets. We need to mention the code of the country. Be able to do it accordingly. When I add a multiple comments over here, I also need to comment it. It's done or not from my part or from anyone else. It will be hard for someone to trace it. It's better that we reply to this. If we have a conversion on this one, we close it. Just you might also aware of the Microsoft Excel also provide this feature that if you to create a Microsoft Excel file, it is stored over cloud, then it is automatically saved. Similarly, here also all the changes you do, there is many save button over here as such, but this thing automatically gets saved. There is many such thing to do over here. All the functionalities are very similar. You might be also you to map it up with your data. You have with your experience in Excel, but all the things are almost shamesome. Formatting wise, something may not be the same, it might be different, but functionality is also same time to add if I want to add one decimal and to remove. If I want to change the data type from general. Basically, data type general comes somewhere here in Microsoft Excel. And here it is very different. Things are very similar. Just a few tweaks are there. That's it. Any questions still here? I think I'm good. How you created that and the idea? I'm just wondering the difference between the static and I'm going to call it the active version. For example, you have a huge data source. I just say maybe 5,000 people, I don't know too much maybe. I just say 1,000 people and you're going to only get hundreds of them to make. Make a workbook that shows, for example, I don't know, how long people are staying in the company, hire date, termination date, calculate those fields. Tell you how long they stayed and you made that. And now you only take 100 people out of the 1,000. And you only take let's just say, you only take the ones that were on the top. For example, people who are staying the longest, you want to get them and show them. Hey, this is the people who stay the longest with the company. There's 100 of them. And now you want to use the same data source. And you want to show people who, for example, are living more of maybe a few days ago. Be a year after a year of working, I just say it's not going to be the same 100 people. It's going to be other people from the same data source. I guess in this case, it would be better to just create a new one, the static one, not the more the active one and present it. Exactly. Yes, there are basically two functionalities to that. First of all, we added this table over here. We can add another sheet and add another data over here, but apart from it. The thing which you told is that the live data and the limitation of the row. Let's say I want to create a logic, I want to create some formulas. But you remember that if we create a formula in Excel, it will take. Let's say if the file is, let's say 50,000 rows or 1 lakh rows, the data, the actual. The laptop will only get hang in that case. For here, what you can do is we can first of all get a sample data, and sample data will test our formulas. Test our formulas with the logic, because let's say if I'm applying a function of substring or change or let's say if I'm applying a lookup, it will apply for 25 rows of data as for file 1 data rows, as there's no issue in it. What I will do is I will test my logic with the small data, and once I'm fine with that logic of all the functions and formulas which I've applied, I can then test it with the live data. That's one use case. Now second use case, as you told that, let's say I want to get a top performance at top 25 perform. When we ingest data, we might have saw the option for sort. Over there, I can sort the option with the higher date, as I can apply any particular field with the metric of their performance. Over there, top 25 perform, I will limit with the 25 400 number of rows to be inserted. I will only get a top 50 or 100 top performers in the organization. I won't get any other data, as I can send across the data to the HR team for their promotions or to the managers for it. Yes, the logic is to share is correct. We can use this case in both ways. This is a good tool for a sharing. One thing is that I feel if you have a dynamic one, the active one, I call it active, it's something that only works in the world. If you want to save it, and let's just say spreadsheet in Excel, and send it to somebody, it's not going to work. For a one that you're going to be sending, you only want to use the passive one, the one that doesn't refresh. Once we download it and save the Excel format with someone else outside the Workday, this dynamic thing won't work. It will only work if someone comes to Workday, log into Workday, log into Drive and open this workbook, then only that workbook will reflect the live data. It's not that if we will download the reported, it will fetch the data from somewhere else and put it over here. It won't work that way. That is how it works. Here, let me show the schedule. Here, frequency. Again, schedule the frequency every day and I started in it. Because we want a particular frequency of it, we can mention tomorrow's date. Because today the data got refreshed for tomorrow as after 1 year, and you can mention the time. Here time we can mention when we log in. Let's say if I daily log in at, let's say 8 am, in the morning I can do a refresh at 7:30 or 7:45, because I know that the refresh won't take much time, because refresh, let's say in the beginning, load it will take time, because in beginning the load will be, let's say, record of 50,000, 1 lakh, depending on our data. But once it gets refreshes, once it refresh on daily basis, it will only include the changes only. Not all data will get refresh. We can see that the last refresh happened only for 2 seconds only, and before that it was showing 6 seconds. The first load will take time, but the remaining refreshes, we won't take much time. I can go over here. I can do every day. Options are every day, every week, every other day, it's alternate day, and a refresh notification. Who will get a notification of the refresh that your file has been refreshed. I can also change the time zone, as if I am into a Central European time zone. I can change it. I can change the time that it should be refreshed at every, let's say, 7:45 or 7:45 once before my login, then it will. Work in that way. This is very beneficial for someone who wants to stay. the work, this ecosystem, and don't want to go outside of it because this is where I can see. The use case of this is that there are companies who don't use Microsoft is at all. They have complete dependency on Google Workspace. Google Workspace is in Google Street is not that robust in the use case. For them, this is very beneficial. But someone who is using, what I personally see that someone is using Microsoft Excel, for them, they might feel this as a restricting thing unless they want to play with the data with Workday. Now let's say this thing is also useful. Let's say I created a report. In that report, I extract the data from Workday. Now what I will do is I will go over here and I will merge workbook. Merge workbook as in, let's say I will upload a workbook. I will upload a workbook. Let's say I downloaded a system. I downloaded a file from a legacy system in an Excel format. And I will load that legacy system file over here and do the working by that. That is also we can do. Go merge. I'll show you how to merge this. I will go merge. It's working on the merger of this workbook. Here we can see that it has mod successfully, but not into this. It has created a different sheet. Let's go to sheet. And here you can see that first name is supervisor organization. All things got added. Let me close. This you can see the review ended performance. This thing wasn't there, it got added for this. Here we are just adding this. We are just merging. This means merging as in it is. We are getting this data over here. Employee, first name, these things were already there from the existing report I have from existing workbook and we got it. Now what we can do is we can apply lookup and pull the data in this initial sheet. It's good that it's not pulling the data in the main space. Here where we are actually doing walking because let's say by any buying chance, if it gets merged incorrectly, then redo option is there, but with too much data, it takes time to redo and undo the data. That's why it's good that it get appended in a new sheet. And then we can do a field lookup of it. We don't need to keep open side by side because here we lookup is not possible in Excel. What happens is, let's say I open two separate micro of text file, I can do a lookup of it unless they are into the same system, but here I can't do a lookup into different workbooks inside worksheet. I need to add in them into the same workbook. Then only the data lookup will work. Any other questions? I think we have completed with all our course content regarding PRISM data analytics, then data discovery board, then worksheets. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.